What up, Space Fam? Goes in here from Anime Uproar, back at it again to discuss the latest, craziest developments in the One Piece story. There's so much in this one, from Luffy versus Kaido to shocking reveals, to a Kaido and Big Mom flashback, and more. So make sure to stay tuned for this one. If you do enjoy these One Piece chapter reviews and want to keep them coming, you know what to do. Channel the Pirate King within and smash that like button with no mercy. Always remember, smashing that like button is Pirate King energy and passing is scared Orochi energy, so choose wisely. If you haven't, make this the video, subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications, or you will miss future One Piece videos and updates. And while you wait for the next chapter to drop, feel free to check out my huge and growing One Piece playlist that includes videos on all the Yonko, Supernova, Admirals, and much more. Link to that is in the description. And now, without further ado, let's jump into it, spoilers and all. So back to the exciting words of Momo when he brought up Zunisha. He says he spoke to Zunisha, who said he awaits for orders. He's come to fight by Momo's side, but Momo still doesn't have the whole picture. Still, it's already a big deal, no pun intended, when you look at the size of Zunisha compared to those tiny ships in the panel. Again, I'm thinking it might be a good exit strategy for our tired out guys, and perhaps Zunisha even takes care of some enemy ships that are like ant-sized for him. Yamato is excited that Momo really can speak to it, and is convinced more than ever that just like Oden predicted, he's the one meant to lead the world to its dawn. Momo for his part speaks of learning why he cannot die here from Oden's journal, but at the same time it looks like Oden tore out the most crucial page. Classic One Piece here, we gotta have the mystery continue to the end. Of course, what made Oden and Roger laugh at the final island is not there, and the true importance of Momo's task eludes him. And he raises some very interesting concerns. He says since Oden wasn't an all-seeing prophet, perhaps under these circumstances of today, he might not even want to open up Wano to the world. Obviously, these are doubts that will be overcome, but nonetheless, context can be important, and such considerations show Momo's growth. He says himself he's not as wise as Oden was, and when he thinks of the potential dangers to the people of Wano, it makes him want to keep the borders shut. And he asks Yamato if that makes him a coward, and obviously the answer is no, because he's thinking of the people and not of himself. But as Momo is still working this out, we jump to Raizo, who has indeed won. And my ninja boy also made me laugh harder than anyone else in this chapter. He's pronounced the victor, which we already knew before, but I love how he can't maintain his stoic composure anymore, and he screams out and begins to say it's hot, referring to the fire, but then stops himself, realizing he needs to maintain his ninja cool, and says, It's not hot! Not hot at all! Instead, you can imagine this set in a scream that reflects his pain, which makes it all the more hilarious. Raizo also tells Fukurokuju that in this era, even shinobi are free to choose, which suggests that they don't need to blindly follow horrible and evil rulers. Loyalty is important, don't get me wrong, but when you're loyal to a terrible evil person, it becomes a fault rather than a virtue. This builds on this arc's criticism of old, outmoded modes of thinking, like the samurai constantly being ready to die instead of thinking about how they can win and keep their lives at the same time. Our boy Jinbei runs into Raizo as Raizo tells him the preparations are almost complete. We then get to a great part here where, of all people, Hiyori ends up being the person to actually finish off Orochi. Now, it's not guaranteed that he's done for, but that's the implication. She doesn't need some crazy power or anything. Orochi didn't have his guard up, he's panicking and waiting for his ninja, and even calling him good for nothing after everything he did for Orochi. Orochi thinks with any luck, the island will soon be history, and he starts getting mad at Komurasaki because she keeps playing music while everything is falling apart around them. He says this is life or death, and she doesn't have to be wearing a mask. Then, as if it's divine punishment itself, the ceiling caves in and falls down on Orochi, pinning him under it. He wonders to himself, why can't he transform? He can't get loose. And Komurasaki tells him that he was distracted and didn't notice. She used a sea stone nail to ensure he wouldn't be able to use his fruit powers. It's like the perfect way to finally finish him off, considering his insanely endurable mythical fruit. The idea of sea stone nails can also be a game changer in the future too, considering how OP some fruits are. However, it definitely makes the most sense to be used on Orochi, because Orochi is a great example of someone who sucks without their fruit powers. So you take them away and you pretty much have nothing left. The best fighters can kick butt even without their fruit powers. And then Orochi insults her, saying what's going on. He thought she loved him. She says, loved you? Don't be ridiculous. There isn't even a shred of affection for you in my heart, end quote. It's a great moment, I must say, when you see Orochi's angry expression turn to one of shock and fear. Hiyori says it's almost poetic that Orochi's favorite song is Moon Princess because her dad, Oden, loved it too. And that's why she practiced it so hard. And finally, Orochi realizes that Komurasaki is in fact the daughter of Odin. He looks shocked, scared, and the panel just showing the mask on Hiyori's face and the smile is chilling. Truly a beautifully done sequence of panels by Oda here. It's such a perfect way to finish off Orochi, who's so scared of Hiyori that he has snot coming from his nose. Hiyori also reveals that she was wearing the mask because she can't possibly smile while playing her father's song for her father's killer. And so the smiling mask is meant to cover up her true expression. And the effect is even more powerful because Oda doesn't actually show us her true expression, but just lets us imagine it. We then get to Izo, who did a great job. Yeah, looks like he's done for, and he tells Kiku to live on, but he took out a CP0 member. And that was exactly his plan from the beginning. It's great to see these guys actually look worried. The masked Go player is furious that one of his own was taken out, and laments the fact that a surviving member of the Whitebeard crew is helping these upstarts. His man tells him to hurry to get Nico Robin, but his chances are much worse thanks to our boy Izo. Then, as if things weren't already complicated enough for this dude, there's a ring. He's like, what's up now? It's one thing after another. Then he hears the big drop, and I quote, listen, this is a direct order from the 5 elders, end quote. And at this point, the Go guy along with us is like, from the 5 elders? Really? And the 5 elders say he must eliminate Straw Hat Luffy immediately. We know that Shanks has met with the 5 elders, so of course this lends to a theory that Shanks himself could want Luffy dead. Another detail that can be used in the Shanks is actually evil theory. And I can't blame people for putting 2 and 2 together here. I'm still of the opinion that Shanks is our boy and a solid dude, but it is quite the coincidence that this guy is close enough to meet with the 5 elders, and then they ordered to have Luffy eliminated immediately. Crazy stuff. Let me know your thoughts on it below. What do you make of this order and the implications of it? Anyways, back to the chapter. Even our Go player is like, what are you talking about? He's in the middle of fighting Kaido. You can't expect me to interfere in that battle. It's impossible. End quote. The dude just lost a guy to Izo, and now they want him to interrupt 2 Yonko fighting. I totally get his reaction here. The voice over the phone says, we're aware of the difficulties, but the world-class nature of this battle is what makes this important. Don't you get it? This order is a necessary precaution. And while this conversation is going on, we see our boy Drake not in good shape, but thinking he won't go down empty-handed. I think he wants to at least try taking down this lone CP0 agent now. How that can work when he's in this shape, I got no idea, but I'm glad to see he's trying. I definitely thought that he was taken out prematurely. The Go player appears to be sweating, panting, and worried. And then we jump to Hamlet helping many escape. Gotta love Hamlet and his Shakespearean/giraffe outfit. We see Frankie worried about Zoro and if he's still kicking, but you know, I just can't get worried here. I know Zoro will be fine, so I don't think this particular scene had the intended effect on me, but it's showing us that yeah, Zoro is very hurt people as we knew he would be, especially after taking that don't hurt now, but hurt way more later medicine. One thing seems pretty clear though, Zoro is not participating in any more fights during this war. We see Nami and Zeus, who's crying a bit over Big Mom being taken down, but Nami is like, bro, who matters more now, me or Big Mom? And Zeus says, you do, Nami, of course, and you love to see it. Marco also comments that they can't let their guards down yet, since this island is still the most dangerous place on the planet. Yo. Even without the yo, that would be a hype statement, and one that makes me question what crazy stuff is happening off the planet. We go back to Kid and Law, and people are like, wow, they really beat Big Mom. People are crying. Kid is asking whether they should brace themselves since Kaido is still up there, but Law is like, no, we did our part. Even if Kaido's the one that comes back down, I have no strength left to put up a fight. And this is what we expect from One Piece. Luffy's gotta win his fight because everyone's strong, push themselves to their limits to barely win their fights. We see Luffy and Kaido fighting, which is always exciting. This chapter, Luffy completely has the advantage. Kaido is visibly affected by sensing that Big Mom has been beaten. He's hilariously burping as well because of the drinking. Luffy thinks about how Jaggy and them really are amazing, and it's interesting to take note of these little details, like that Luffy said Jaggy and them rather than mentioning Law, at least in this translation. Is Luffy respecting Kid a bit more here? It's open to interpretation, but interesting nonetheless. Kaido then glimpses a flashback of a younger, and it must be said, more attractive Big Mom. Kaido was only 15 at the time, and Big Mom was charismatic AF. She teased him, saying stuff like, "Is that mouth of yours just for show? Don't you know how to speak? How old are you? 15? Ah, to be young. So this is your first time teaming up with Rocks." She had his back and said if something is bugging him, he could tell her. She's Lin Lin and she's the woman who will rule the seas. Funny enough, she was kind of like a mother figure for him here, taking him under her wing. And all their history and probably her niceness hits him like a brick wall and he begins to cry. This is weeping drunk Kaido and he's like, "How could I let this happen? We just swore we'd help each other get the One Piece." Luffy is shown in the next panel looking like a beast. You see he's got the Snake Man form activated and Oda did a really good job with the silhouette here. Luffy goes in with punches and with an especially strong move called Gomu Gomu no Hydra. Whenever you're referencing mythical creatures, you know the move is strong. And as the narrator points out, this is Luffy's fierce onslaught. He looks to be punching around the strongest creature in the world, who is clearly not mentally stable right now. Luffy goes on to say to him, "Don't talk to me about your dreams. They made the people of this country starve. I'm giving Gear Forth one last go. I won't stop swinging until I have nothing left." Kaido is thinking, where are these punches coming from? As someone who clearly lacks the motivation of an up-and-comer these days, he finds it hard to believe that Luffy has so much driving him. Luffy screams, "I'm kicking you out of this country for good," and that's the end of this chapter. It's nice to see Luffy, even though he never claims to be a good guy, calling out Kaido for mistreating the people of the country. Clearly in his philosophy, dreams should not come at the price of innocent people suffering. I like how even though Luffy is sometimes morally ambiguous as a pirate in a good way, he has a clear personal moral compass that guides him, and you gotta respect him for it. There's no other way to say it, but we are gearing up, again pun unintended, for the end of this fight. Luffy pretty much said this is his last go, and he's gonna swing until he's done, and hopefully it's enough to take Kaido down. The CP0 agent is probably gonna have some trouble with Drake, but he's definitely someone to watch out for, since if Luffy is in Zoro's shape after the fight, even if he wins, this dude could show up and just finish his helpless body off. And it's a completely different story if he interferes before the fight is even over and thus ruins Luffy's chances. I don't know how they're gonna play this, but I really hope Luffy comes out with a decisive victory here, and it definitely looks like it's headed that way with this latest onslaught of attacks. As always, let me know your thoughts on who is MVP this chapter. I gotta go with my boy Luffy here and his Hydra attack. Our boy is really giving it to the so-called strongest creature in the world. Also, props to Drake and Izo and Hiyori. So many great moments in this one. And what is going on with the 5 elders and their order? Could Shanks actually be connected to it? If he's not behind it, could he know about it and show up to help? So many hype-inducing questions right now. But that is it for this one. If you do enjoy the review and want to keep them coming, you know what to do. Channel the Pirate King within and smash that like button with no mercy. Always remember, smashing that like button is Pirate King energy and passing is scared Orochi energy. So choose wisely. If you haven't, make this the video, subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications, or you will miss future One Piece videos and updates. And while you wait for the next chapter to drop, feel free to check out my One Piece playlist that includes videos on all the Yonko, Supernova, Admirals, and much more. Link to that is in the description. And until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys.